I have these friends, Dan and Sheila. They're podcast hosts.
Welcome to Profiling Criminal Minds. I'm Dan.
And I'm Dr. Redmond.
And we are here for season 1 of Cross, Prime's latest book-based potboiler.
Oh, okay. That's a good way to describe it.
I mean, what do you want to... I mean, you want me to take the show seriously? It's a very silly show. And I loved it.
I know. Okay. Yes, it is a potboiler, but that's what James Patterson writes.
Of course. He's not a legitimate writer. He doesn't write real books. He never did. He writes the most fun potboilers you can get, and this is the perfect encapsulation of that. I don't think they've gotten Alex Cross right before. This is my favorite Alex Cross adaptation. I've read a bunch of the books. This is by far my favorite. And it's not just because John Sampson is there. Although I'm not going to say it lie. That is a lot of why it's my favorite. Oh, I love that character so much. And the guy they got playing him is so good.
Yeah.
Oh. Obviously, we're going to talk spoilers for the season. But I think we can start off by saying we recommend this, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I watched it. When I watched it, I immediately said, you need to watch Cross. It's all up now. So,
yeah. Apparently, they just put the whole thing up.
I guess so. Because it came up and I said, well, okay, I guess I'll look.
And it was all there.
One, and all of it was there. So I just binge watched it from Thursday to Sunday.
I watched the whole thing in 2 days. It was terrible.
Well, I could have. I just had to. You
had other things to do. Exactly. I was sitting around waiting for calls. So I'm like, guess I'll watch more Cross.
Mm-hmm.
I got to it was hilarious. I watched episode 1 through 5 one day. And then, I got to episode 7 before I had to take a break. And it's like, I know it's almost over, but I had stuff to do that night. So I watched it overnight 2 days ago. And I'm like, loved it.
Loved it.
I had a great time.
It even it solved some of the problems of the books. It kept some of the idiocies of the book.
It really did.
It was. God. I just sort of think about it because just to go back to Patterson.
Well, of course,
we can
start with James Patterson.
Yeah, we will explain these books.
Yeah,
right now. Remember that Morgan Freeman played Patterson.
Played Alex Cross in Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider.
Yes, Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. I think Along Came a Spider was the first one.
No, Kiss the Girl. You saw? No,
I saw
100%. We watched Kiss the Girls together first.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And then Along Came a Spider. Now, my shock when I'm going. I thought this was such an innovative choice to make Morgan Freeman Alex Cross. Why, you might ask? Because you couldn't tell in the books.
He's black.
Sorry,
yeah, no, it's true.
He's black.
It never comes up.
It never comes up. He never has any problems.
Nope.
That are related, that are racially related.
No.
His kids never have any problems that are they never
racially
have any
related.
problems.
Nope.
They lose a mother figure every book,
or two. Sometimes it's 2 books before they lose.
Before they lose, he manages to marry, but then it takes another.
Yeah,
I mean,
Alex Cross's girlfriends always die. His wife died in the backstory, and then they did a flashback book. But his girlfriends always get killed. It's ridiculous.
And by the end of a novel, you've already got the replacement in place.
I mean, frequently, yes. And then she'll die in the next book. It's pretty trite and it's pretty.
Yeah. Well, no, it's like the veterinarian, for example, right? There's no indication that Alex is the least bit interested in any of these women. It's just that he always, by the end of the book, puts some woman in place. Yeah. That is going to then become the replacement in the next book.
Yes.
It's not that Alex Cross is already looking for
James
another.
Patterson is already looking for another partner.
For Cross, because he's going to lose his wives.
Yeah, lose his wives, lose his girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh,
so I'm very worried about the woman from this one next season.
Yes, and then there's the woman who had the baby. I mean, he got married again.
Yeah.
And they had a baby and she
then
gets
she
killed.
gets killed, and now he's got a baby to deal with.
3
Luckily,
children.
he'll find another woman to deal with that.
Yes.
So we
And
don't
he's
know.
always got his
I
mo-
don't think they're going to do that with this show. Hopefully, but it's hard to
Hopefully.
say. It's hard.
It's
I mean,
hard to
they
say.
might.
Look at what happened. Nana almost got killed
I know. Damn.
in this episode. This episode was over the top in
It
so
was.
many ways, but like in terms of its villain, who of course is the star of New Amsterdam.
Yes, it was
It took
bothering
me-
me what this
It
guy was
took
from.
me. I'm going, I know who this actor is. And he looked so strange.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, who is this actor?
Why does he look
I
so
actually
different?
looked
And
it
that's
up
why.
and
Yeah.
went, oh shit, of course. Because I recognized his voice.
Yeah.
I never missed a New Amsterdam. Well,
While
you
it
know,
was on, yeah.
yeah. And
No, he's good.
so the villain is very, very good. And if you can't figure out he's the villain in the serial killer, that's the other
Like
thing.
1 minute in.
Cross. The minute you meet him, you know, okay, this is the guy. This
Yeah,
is the guy.
Here's the guy we're going to be dealing with for the rest of this season.
Yeah. And okay, nobody sees it, but that's all right.
But yes.
Because
He is a ridiculous, what an absurd character.
totally absurd obsession for
Yeah.
a serial killer to have.
Just like the contrivance of, okay, so what he does is he finds people who vaguely look like serial killers, and then he gives them plastic surgery and hair dye and everything to make them look exactly like the serial killers. And then he but only serial killers who were given the death penalty by the federal government, and he recreates their
Final
death
scenes
penalties,
and their
their final
final meals.
and he photographs them, and then instead of like getting rid of the body, because he has all of these abilities to make people disappear and nobody ever sees them again, and then like he dumps their transformed bodies that look completely different than they did when he took them, and he just dumps them for people to find and makes it look like drug overdoses or car accidents or whatever. You could have just burned that body. No one would have known what happened. You would have
But
gotten
deep
away
down
with it.
inside, he wanted
There you go.
everyone to know.
Well, no, he wanted to get caught because he wants the attention. That's true.
Yes. Now, what I really thought was brilliant about this is his final, right? The very fact that if he didn't kill her, because he killed them always on
And that's the
Their
extra,
birthdays.
no, not their birthday, the birthday of the killer. And that was the funniest part. When they're
Yes.
like, wait a minute, Eileen Wuornos was born on February 29th. Meaning that he has to kill her today, or he has to wait 4 years.
4 years
before he can kill her.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that was the funniest thing. Like,
I know. When we talk pot boiler,
oh my god.
look, and this thing is great. Like,
Oh, it is.
it is thoroughly enjoyable from beginning to end
It is.
because this is an absurd serial killer story.
Yeah, it is.
But it's brilliant. He's
Oh, yeah.
over the freaking top.
Well, I love the performance. I love this
Oh
guy
yeah,
as a
because he
killer.
was completely controlled,
Yeah.
and you don't see. Ultimately, you don't really see. I mean, if you've read all of the books, of course, there's an issue of anticipation.
Mhm.
But I would say that if you have never read any of the books, it is going to be real difficult when you get to like 9.
Yeah.
And going, okay, it's over. How come there's another episode?
Yeah, right?
Right? Well, you find out, right? And
I thought that was really well done.
Oh,
And
yeah,
no,
and
it's 8 episodes, so it's in episode 7 that you're
7,
talking
yeah.
about. Yeah.
yeah, episode 7, where you had
But
just
and this is why I think the thing was smart,
Yeah.
because they've got the second plot, simmering in the background the whole time, because never for 1 second do you think that the fanboy is responsible for stalking him. Like, no, it's obvious the fanboy has nothing to do with the stalking.
Yeah.
100%. Meaning, we know there's a second plot in there and we're waiting for it to pay off. But I didn't see it coming.
I didn't know. No, as
They
I
got
said,
me.
yeah, they got you with that second plot, and it is just because I basically read the first after I just got sick and tired of the kids never in the books.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever, ever having any problems. They just adapt.
I know.
The minute they get a new mother,
Honestly,
everything's just fine.
in the books, his children aren't characters. They're just
No,
props.
they're not. They're
just
props. Yes,
Here-
and somebody else is always taking care of them. We never focus on them. They get put in danger, of course, every now and then, but they're not. But even then, they're not traumatized.
No, they're never traumatized.
These children are never traumatized in the books, and it was getting absurd. And I just went. I had other things to read. It's like I stopped reading Stephen King for a while.
Yeah,
but and then picked it up when he started to get good again.
Yeah. After 1963, and Doe McKee, he got good again.
Yeah, it started to get good again. So anyway, but what happens is the thing that is so, to me, so good about this, and I was so impressed with the way the writers dealt with all of the issues of being Black in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem of being a Black cop, that, and in this case, right, it is very clear that Alex Cross does not want to deal with this issue.
Nope.
That there is a whole bunch of racially motivated stuff going on. And Alex,
he just wants to not, like,
I'm a cop.
Yeah, he did not have to deal with any of this stuff. He wants it to be simple, and he wants it to be basic, and he wants to, like, there's crime out there. I want to understand the people, and I want to solve the crime, and I don't want to have to deal with the rest of this, and he can't escape it.
Yeah, and he can't, and finally he does. I mean, I thought the ending was powerful.
It was. It was really good.
It was very, very powerful. The powers that be were not probably very happy, but it didn't matter.
It's like having him come, like, reckon with the fact that, no, he has a greater responsibility as a Black cop.
And not only that, he is guilty of profiling.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely is.
He is as guilty of profiling Black men as his white fellow cops.
Yep.
That's what he had to deal with. And I thought, finally, dealing with this. Now, you can say with Patterson, what they were trying to show was that integration, it was the happy view.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That everything was
here's
fine.
The thing. This is a character who's created in the 1990s. And for those of us listening who don't remember the 1990s, it really did feel like racism was over in America. There was plenty of racism. We had just, as a society, decided to pretend that racism was over. That's why the riots, right? That's why the riots were such a shock. The LA riots were such a shock. That's why the O.J. Simpson verdict was such a shock, right? Yeah. Because people had got it into their heads that racism wasn't really a thing anymore, right?
A big problem.
It wasn't a big... I mean, we knew that if you went down south, there could be issue, but it wasn't a systemic thing. There was just a racist here and a racist... That's what people thought, and that is the milieu in which the character Alex Cross was conceived of and created.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And as I said, and I am sure that Patterson is on board with all of this.
Oh, yeah.
This is fine. I'm not, it has nothing to do with that. I was just happy to see that Alex Cross, plus his children. I was also pleased to see that somebody decided maybe the children will be traumatized by some of this.
So smart to give the children some depth finally.
Yeah.
I loved that about the show. Like, actually giving the kids some, like, they've got trauma they're dealing with. Maybe it's a little fast that he's dating this woman less than a year after his wife died, when he's got kids out there. But I mean, I guess...
Well, yeah, but that's Alex Cross.
That's Alex Cross. Like, because we were literally just talking. People aren't going to hear this for until January, but we were literally just talking about on Profiler how appropriate it is that she dates A. Martinez after 3 years have gone by. And we're like, husband murdered by a serial killer who's stalking you, you want to wait 3 years. And I feel like beloved wife and mother, shot to death mysteriously, case never solved, maybe give it a little more than a year, Alex.
Yeah.
just a little more than a year.
But everybody's pressuring him to start living his life. Now, the thing about this woman is that she was in love with him in high school.
Yes, they have a long history.
And she's always been. They have a long history, and he never realized.
And that
He
is
just
why I
never-
was not as tough on it as I would have been
Yes.
otherwise. I completely,
otherwise.
I would have been tougher on it had they not scripted that this is a long-standing relationship that the two of them had.
Yes,
Like
and
they
that
know each other.
they separated sort of after high school, but
Yeah.
she brings up that prom, the final
I
prom
know. Oh, I like that
dance,
scene.
and then something interfered. I think the lights went out or something else. The
And they never
electrical
got to
system,
dance.
there
It was
a
all. It
storm.
was a beautiful story.
It was a beautiful little story because he does remember it.
Mhm.
And so it's not a surprise.
Yeah.
So it's not like in the books
Where he would meet a new woman and be sleeping with the new woman involved with his case immediately.
well, no, after, like, as I said, the one I remember distinctly was the veterinarian where they have a dog, right?
Yeah.
And they have to take the dog to the veterinarian. And I'm going, oh, so she's going to be the next wife after
Absolutely.
this one dies.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's put her in place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they will start dating in the next book.
In the next book, once
And they will fall in love
current
and they will
wife-
get married and she'll be dead by the end of it.
the one after. Yeah.
So
That's just
when
common
I'm,
sense.
yeah, that's just, yes. So
That's just how it
but-
works.
it'll be interesting to see how this
Yeah.
handles all of that. I thought that they handled his inability to deal with his wife's death.
Yep. I thought that was very well done. And I
Yeah.
love that John was the one demanding he get therapy.
Yeah.
That
Just,
made me really happy.
yeah. Just,
Like the sensible one. Yeah, of course John's the sensible one.
I had a slight problem.
Did not like hearing that John didn't like vaccines, but you know what? Let's
Let's
just
skip
let
that.
them have that one. Let's just
Yeah,
let them
yeah,
have
yeah.
that one and move on.
Yes. We're going to move on. It's not like it's a vaccine or anything.
Yeah.
Just going, oh, good Lord. Okay. You had to get it in there. They
They
can't
had
be
to.
perfect characters.
We'll drive
It's okay.
by. Yeah.
And
But
then there's
I
the,
did like that he's pushing therapy. 100% I like that he's
Yeah.
pushing therapy. And I thought it was right. And again, it's a troubled Alex Cross. It's an Alex Cross who's actually dealing with stuff. And it's the perfect display of this man who loves going into people's minds and absolutely can't bear to have anyone in his. Like, yeah, that feels right for Alex Cross.
yes, because Alex Cross is a doctor and a forensic psychiatrist or psychologist.
Psychologist.
Anyway, yes. So, and
he cannot prescribe you drugs. Don't
No.
ask. He can't prescribe you drugs.
yeah. But of course, yes, heaven forbid he should go
Go and
into
get therapy
therapy.
himself. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
He would never.
because he's fooling himself into and saying, I'm dealing with it. My wife is gone and I'm blah, 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 blah. And so it is good. The one complaint I do have is that the henchman for our serial killer
Yeah.
looks a little, it took me a while to
Looks too much
distinguish
like John?
between-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much
Yeah.
like John. They needed to have different facial hair.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the problem.
It was a problem.
Yeah. Okay. So
I
that was,
started identifying him by his jacket because he's got that big fur coat that he likes to
Yeah,
wear.
well-
I'm like, okay, well, John wouldn't wear that big fur coat. So I'm looking at the evil cop, not John.
yeah. This is the evil ex-cop.
Yeah. This is the
And
evil ex-cop.
Because no, in the beginning it was you do figure it gets easier as you go along.
Oh, yeah.
But
Right
but
at the start,
in
I will admit to being confused just as you were right at the start.
okay, good. Yeah, because it was just like I'm going,
Wait, what?
so what who okay, so is somebody going to be turning? No, and it's
not
not
him.
his friend, not his best friend.
Yeah.
So and the fight between him and his best friend when he
Mhm.
is fully prepped, you're fully prepped for. John is refusing to deal with anything.
Yep.
And everybody in the station knows that he's not handling any of this well.
No, it's Alex who's not who's
Alex,
refusing to deal with
excuse
it.
me,
Yeah.
not John. But John and Alex have the fight, and
over it.
Alex.
Which, yep, completely so.
And Alex goes way out of line. So
Mhm.
I thought I just thought we can say it because it's a podcast,
Of course.
but the title of the last episode was
Perfect title.
perfect title. You had me at motherfucker. And
Oh my
I
God,
just
was
went,
so happy.
I was so
And
happy
the best
when
part
that.
is, no, the best part is, I didn't know that was the title of the last episode because I just watched them episode after episode. I was never on the menu.
Yeah.
I was never at the menu. So you have the scene when he comes and he apologizes, and John says, "You had me at motherfucker." Like a little Jerry Maguire reference. And so when I went
Yeah.
back to the menu and I found out that was the title, oh, I was so
Yeah.
happy. I
Yeah,
was
no,
so
I
happy.
thought I just was so.
Perfect.
They
Perfect for these
handled
characters.
those two characters and their apology, and they're getting back
They
together
got the
again as
relationship
best friends.
exactly right.
Yeah,
Oh, I love these guys. I
You know,
loved these characters.
I'm just going pot boiler plot notwithstanding.
Yeah.
Who because we've given you the plot, we've given you the villain.
Yeah.
It is fascinating, like the scenes, because this guy has become a power broker.
Yes.
He knows everybody's secrets,
Mhm.
and some of those secrets are
Ugh.
ugh. And the funny thing is that I thought it would be the ex-villain who was going to come, the ex-cop that was going to come after
Yeah.
Alex
Right at the end.
at the end, right? And yet I knew that there was something else going on, because
Mhm.
that part of it didn't make sense.
Yeah. And we got
Anyway.
no closure on it.
Yeah. But then we get the very last scene, which is setting up season 2. So obviously they
They know what
had
they're doing.
already, they already had the signed contracts for season 2.
Oh, absolutely. They're ready to go.
They were ready to go with the next season. And it is, oh dear.
I know. Oh, I'm very excited to see where that goes. Believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
the villain, the side cop villain was fun. It's literal very upsetting to see him getting immunity for it's weird. Okay, so we really enjoyed it, but it is a pot boiler, and it is weirdly lazy plot wise in a lot of respects.
Well, come on, it's
no,
Patterson.
it is. It's Patterson, absolutely. But I will say that there's a bunch of stuff like the one place where that I thought they made a big mistake, not a huge mistake, but a big mistake, was so they want to open. So they opened with Alex's wife getting murdered, and I'll come back to that in a minute. But the next scene is they want to show him crackering a guy and getting him to confess. And they write this very awkwardly.
Yes.
Because I'm going to say that the guy quoted a line from Macbeth about guilt. That's not going to play well in court as proof that he's a killer. What plays much better in court is you're getting charged with murder in Washington, D.C. The Washington, D.C. jury pool is 85% African American. Let's see how your smug racist dickishness plays with that audience. That's what you gotta hit this guy with.
Yeah.
Like, you may think you're superior. The jury might disagree with that.
I mean, they didn't even send OJ to jail.
They didn't even send OJ. Like, that's, it's like, and so a black jury with you, a twisted white supremacist who murdered his wife. Yeah, I think because presumably she had slept with a black man. Yeah, I don't think you're going to do great in court. But just putting it out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But yes, then you have, like I said, I already had one issue with the, with the guys. With the guys.
He didn't even use the best Macbeth quote. Who remembers that line from Macbeth?
Well, yeah, maybe it's supposed to be obscure. I guess maybe that's why.
It was kind of obscure. I mean, if he'd said "out damn spot," okay, you know.
Yeah, but no, that's
or something, right?
Yeah, this really obscure line that means guilt. Well, it's like, again, try selling that to a jury.
Yeah, well, it would have been the anyway, but I mean, I thought that was, but never mind. It sets Alex Cross
It
up.
does. It does set Alex Cross up
that's
as
what it's
the
supposed
most
to do.
observant guy, and that's why we love him, because he is the most.
And that's
guy,
why
he
he's
is
so,
the smartest guy.
Yeah, except when it comes to his own family.
Yes, that way he's got a problem. So then we get into the mystery, which I really did enjoy, but there are some problems with it. For example, they relatively quickly, and this is we'll get to the fanboy in a second. But the problem I had with the mystery of the stalker is they relatively quickly figure out whose case it's related to, right? Because he goes to the DA in the wheelchair, and they're like, well, what did we work on that people took seriously? Well, there's this woman that you maybe could have got off, but you said she was irredeemable. You said she was mentally broken, and she killed herself in jail.
Yeah.
Right? And then they don't look into her family and friends at all.
They get sidetracked.
Yeah. But I'm like, you didn't look into the family and friends at all?
Yeah. Well, I think, I right, because then they would have, well, then again, of course, we wouldn't have had, the twist at the end.
It's a great twist, but it's like, when you find out the twist, it's like, how did you not know this already?
How did you not figure this one out?
Yeah, this was not a hard mystery to solve. But it's her foster mother who raised her.
Yes.
Who has insinuated herself into your life. Like, and this would not have been...
Has become your Nana's best friend.
Exactly. Like, this was not a hard crime to solve, and they just didn't work on it at all.
And because I heard when he went to talk to her, because we do get some early flashbacks, and then it's not until the end, that you get the bigger flashback. But what happens, I think, is that you're supposed to understand that he is so distracted still and so obsessed and filled with basically anger, hate over his wife's death.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're distracted by this serial killer.
Yeah.
And he will take any distraction to avoid dealing with and I will say dealing with racial issues. True. Like, there's a whole bunch of things that made him blind and made him not focus on solving his wife's death.
Yes.
Because then you can sort of see it, right? Like, he doesn't want to do karaoke a year afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he can't tolerate the flashbacks of his wife and all of the things that are there.
But you see, my point is,
keep him. No, I do
feels
see
like
your
he
point.
is not putting in the effort necessary to try and find his family, right? The people threatening his family, because the people threatening his family are not actually hard to find at all. Like, for a guy who's so paranoid about protecting his family that he's like setting up security cameras everywhere and pulling a gun on his daughter.
Yep.
Right. To not make like one phone call to find out who are the family members of this dead woman who we're pretty sure they're stalking me in relation to her death.
Well, they do. Yeah. Well, okay.
One phone call is would have taken to prevent the ending of this episode, is all I'm saying.
Well, the only thing is that when they do finally follow up on the girl, the social worker, he doesn't even ask the right questions in the beginning.
I know.
So there's definitely some kind of a block. It's almost as if he needs distraction because even trying to find his wife's killer is going to cause him to think about his wife. And he doesn't want to think about his dead wife who was murdered. This isn't about the dead wife. This is about people actively stalking and threatening his family today. Yeah, I know. But the point is that when she was killed, when his wife was killed, though, right? Yeah. Nobody thought that she was the first.
I'm so
like they
confused
did
by what you
not
mean.
see that. No, they did not see that as part of a stalking thing against him.
But it wasn't. It had nothing to do with the stalker. We still haven't solved his wife's murder.
Then how do they know what his wife's last words were?
Because she's involved in a larger project of destroying his life. I'm pretty sure. Because had she been responsible for the wife's death, I think she would have mentioned it.
No, not her. Her son.
No, even, yeah, but it's like, it
Her
would have
son-
come up had she had her son
okay.
kill the wife.
No. What I'm saying, okay, never mind. What I'm trying to say is that it was a mugging, okay, and you're saying that it wasn't. I guess when I got to the end, I'm going, this was the thing that set everything. Okay, no, but it wouldn't make sense what I was thinking. You're right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think this through.
Because
and
at the start of the first
no.
midway through the first episode, a woman comes into the house, right? And looks at the picture of it, steals the picture of his wife, and then hides in the closet, like with a knife, as the daughter comes in to get her shoes. And puts the Washington Redskins scarf that the wife was wearing when she was killed, puts it back in the cupboard, in the closet. And
That's right.
I don't think that woman is the villain
Part
from the
of
season. No,
yeah.
I don't think that woman is the woman like the like Miss Karen, is that her name?
Okay, whatever her name was.
Whatever her name is, right? I don't think that's who broke into the house in the first episode. I think that's a separate thing related to the murder of his wife. Because had the son been responsible for killing his wife, I feel like we would have gotten some confirmation on that, and we would have gotten some closure with the kids.
No, because he killed somebody else because they would have set up Deirdre, and then he would have known that Deirdre.
Yeah, exactly.
He would never have been.
Yeah.
He would have never been the forensic psychologist in Deirdre's place.
No, he killed somebody else. That was not related to his wife.
Yes.
I understand how that confusion could happen. No. The mystery of his wife's death is still unsolved.
Yes, and we are going to get a flashback, I'm sure, a season.
Yeah. And here's my question. Hey, how did John's then girlfriend not see what happened? Like,
I have no idea. The two of them went off.
The two of them walk off together, and someone pulls a gun on her and was there long enough to hear her last words, shoot her, and steal her scarf. And that woman didn't see anything? Is she the killer? Because honestly, at that point,
well, I was wondering whether
she could see nothing.
Yeah, well, there was a time when I wondered whether John was a bad cop.
Right?
You know, I mean, at one point,
because of the little confusion about the villain looking a little too much like John.
Yeah, the two of them,
a little too much alike. That is a problem.
Yeah, and it's I'm going. Wait a sec. Is John
is that John? No, that can't be John.
No, it can't be John. It can't be. You know,
no, of course
John's going to show up all the time.
Yeah,
you know?
He's our beloved character, John Sampson. No, he's fine. But yeah, so I too, like, I will admit, and I will agree with you that it is kind of confusing. It is not 100% clear what's going on there. And it is an issue with the episode that, like, we have this big question left of, wait, did the death of Miss Karen or whatever her name is, did that resolve who killed his wife? And the answer is no, it didn't.
No.
It does not resolve the question of who killed his wife.
No.
We still don't know that. And I have a feeling that's going to be a big thing going forward, which raises the question. And here's something I'm going to say completely out of the blue. You tell me what you think. Are they going to do Mastermind, and Mastermind is going to be a woman this time, and it's the DA? Or would that be too crazy?
Well, they might not do it at the second season.
No, but I'm just saying, is that who's going to be responsible for all this?
That DA. Well, she's
the DA in the wheelchair. Just saying, maybe she's not really so
yeah.
much in a wheelchair. Maybe she's not as much in a wheelchair as we think she is. Just putting it out there.
Yeah, because you know, and then you get the ending. This
You got the FBI agent who's making a corrupt deal to pull strings in
Washington.
In Washington.
Well, pulling an Edgar Hoover.
Oh yeah, J. Edgar Hoover, exactly. Trying to build her own power base by having secret files on people.
Mm-hmm. And being able to blackmail people and being able to, you know,
yeah. No, she's positioned herself well, and it makes you very interested to see, well, okay, what's she going to be up to then?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's plenty of interesting places for this to go. Like, there are a lot of really interesting places for this thing to go, and I'm very intrigued to see where they're going to take it. But yeah, the thing that got me when I was watching it was just like, what is going on with his dead wife? Like, it's so strange to have the nefarious Miss Karen announce that she knows what his wife's last words were, and then to have that not get mentioned in any way, shape, or form for the rest of the season. I'm like, this major new information about your dead wife, I feel like would be worth bringing. Like, this is a huge revelation.
I know. About
the most important thing in your life, and it doesn't get commented on at all. And I found that really weird.
Well, I found it weird too, and I'm going, which is hence my confusion about whether or not her son.
Whether her son was just the killer of his wife. Okay, and yeah, but even if he had been, I feel like that would have gotten mentioned.
Yes, so but I'm not ready to go yet. You know.
Yeah, but
it's basically what she said.
Yeah. But my suspicion is that they're in the same way that the fanboy has a giant cult of themed serial killers that he's a member of, who all wear ridiculous masks when they stream to each other, so they don't know who each other are. I think whoever is responsible for the death of Alex's wife is involved in that somehow. And that's going to come back.
One is going to, you know, because they do get a fanboy, and they do get who is the biggest power broker in Washington.
Exactly.
And they do get the plastic surgeon. Well, you already knew she was going to be involved.
Of course.
The minute you met the
minute you meet her, you're like,
you know,
okay,
you get signals all over. You've seen
television.
Shows.
Yeah.
You've seen detective shows before. Yeah.
But yeah, the woman who's so obviously in on it
and does the plastic surgery and helps. Now, why it took them so long to figure out that, because she had that damaged face. And I'm just going, you know, like, well, you know, he wouldn't be able to kill her until she was perfect, because he wanted everything to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, he goes, and it's not until they get the February 29th business
that they realize that they've got a little bit more time. And then they rush over to get the plastic surgeon. Yeah, I thought that was all well done. Like, they really keep you on the edge of your seat for this one.
Yeah, trying to figure out just who and how. And of course the senator with the secrets.
Yeah. Ooh.
You know, telling the wife, no, you keep your mouth shut, because you believe that he's not doing this anymore, but we've got all of these pictures, and we've got all of these airplane tickets.
That was a rough one.
The guy is going to Thailand.
Her nefarious child molester husband. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Going off to Thailand. So
that was a rough one, but you know, you need it to be awful enough that he can blackmail her over it. So there you go.
Well, it had to be, yeah. And it was, you know, and you see that early on, and then it holds later on.
Yeah, they come back
because she actually knows that he's got this. She knows essentially he's the serial killer and can't tell anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Because she recognizes, because the woman does escape at one point. This Eileen Wuornos lookalike.
That's when she sees the face slash.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's very well done. Like, it's very well done. You understand that this woman, this senator or congressman, whatever she is compromised.
Well,
So she
it's
can't
her
do
husband.
anything. Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
that makes her compromised. She's been covering up
Yes.
for him, so she's
Yep.
in on it.
Yeah.
Right? So she can't possibly do anything. Right? She's in this horrible situation where she wants to stop, but she's not in a position where she can stop. Like, it's all very well handled.
I
Yeah.
thought so. I thought that, doing this and then just the intimation of a bunch of,
Yeah.
I mean, and the point is that he's cracker crazy.
He is bonkers. Yeah.
He is completely bonkers. And what he wants to do is do basically a photo shoot gallery.
He wants
So
to
the
have a
world
photo
will
gallery.
know
Yeah.
what an artist he is.
I know.
And I have to admit that they played the last woman.
Yeah.
The last one he picked to be Eileen Warnes.
Yeah.
And of course we know by then what's going to happen, and you're just
Mhm.
going, oh dear. Like, I almost thought, is he going to change his mind? Is she going to be stupid enough, or is she going to be smart enough not to go to his place? No, she shows
of
up.
course. She's going to be
But
kidnapped.
tells
for the
her
whole
mother.
season. Yeah, tells her mother, but
Except-
it turns out she wasn't talking to her mother at all. And that's a
No.
lesson to you kids. Don't just text people. Get people on the phone.
Yeah. Talk to them.
Talk to them. Don't do
Yes.
this text nonsense. Get people on the phone. It happened here. It happened on Criminal Minds. You could be texting with anybody. There's no way to know.
That's right. It's
Oh
like-
my god. But yeah, it's no, it was it was very scary.
It was
very well done.
and paced very well.
Oh, exceptionally well, I would say.
Yeah. And 8 episodes, fine.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any like
No real
and you
dead
can
spots,
just
I
see-
think.
No real dead spots.
It moves really well.
Yeah, and the fact that the police chief is now going to become the mayor.
Yep, that's going to set up more for next season. Now I am going to bring something up, and I mean, you know me, I am merciless when it comes to criticizing plot issues. So I'm going to say a pretty big one, and because they get a witness killed, right? They do. They find a witness to the first person that Ed killed. I mean, he probably killed his sister, but like, we're not gonna get any closure on that. So we just have to set that one aside.
So Fanboy, the serial
Fanboy,
killer.
Ed Ramsey, is the character, right? A Fanboy.
And they
serial killer.
get
So
I know.
they find out he's a fan of this like musician who was a horror themed musician, and he was a big fan of the idea
that was
of murder.
the stupidest part of the whole
so
8.
the whole 8 episodes. So we get there, and they get this witness to him killing somebody, and they got a videotape of him killing somebody. Which honestly is pretty good evidence with or without someone to testify, but whatever. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is, and this is the point that frustrated me so much, I'm watching this scene, and then he has his corrupt cop murder the guy. And it is like, I am so baffled for a couple of reasons. Because previously, on at Ed's party, at the Fanboys party, he's pissed at Alex Cross, so he has them reveal the video of Alex Cross doing police brutality.
Yeah.
Right? That almost got Alex Cross, put away, and it's, pissed off John, and it caused this rift between him and John, right?
And the community.
And
that
the
he
whole
lives in.
community, turns on him even more than they hate with even their antipathy towards cops has now been turned on him as well. So it's an important scene. But here's the thing. Alex knows only 2 people had access to that video. John, who was there, and their direct supervisor, the pregnant cop.
Yes, that's okay. Yeah.
And he doesn't do anything about that. He makes until she has killed the witness.
Why was she given
Like,
to the witness? Well, this is it. You see, I think what they're trying to say is that he is so obsessed with the death of his wife and not dealing with the death of his wife, that he can't see anything.
Maybe, but it's like,
I think that's what they're trying to say.
it's
Because
like,
it's perfectly obvious to me. Like, I couldn't believe it when she killed him.
yes.
And I'm
Like-
going, how come they haven't found her out?
Yeah, and then John, of course, figures it out, and Alex do figure it out almost immediately. John figures it out immediately because only 2 people had access to that video,
Yeah.
right?
So he knows.
So he knows, but that means Alex knows too. So, like, maybe be on top of this? How are you not on top of this? How did you not already realize she was working for Ramsay the minute the video got out?
Well, I don't know. She's pregnant.
It's not a good excuse.
Well, no, for Alex, for John.
Yeah, for
And-
John.
and-
yeah.
You see, now I'm not sure that they totally know. They should know right away, but I'm not sure that it connects because remember, John does go to see her,
Yeah.
and she wants
she
wants
confesses
him.
immediately.
Well, no, the first time she says, "Can't you be the
Godfather.
She wanted the godfather of my baby."
Yeah.
And they talking and the rest of it, and then he leaves.
Yeah.
And that's when they discover. So there is a thing.
There is a gap there. Yeah.
There is a gap. And then the minute he realizes it, he goes back to see her. And then they find out, she confesses, and they find out.
But my point is, and here's
But yes, and your point is exactly that. There were only 2 people who had access to the video.
and on no planet would John have given it to anybody. There's
yes.
no
But
planet under which John would have turned on him. Like, it can't happen.
No, the point is that you and I know that, but that then
Even
because
Alex
that's
knows
where
that.
I got in my set and said, "Oh my God, don't tell me he's on the tape too."
Of course not.
Then I went, "Oh, of course not," right?
Yeah,
but then
no, you
and
see
then I'm
you
going-
see my confusion, and you see how it stuck in my craw a little that they didn't realize who had betrayed him before
right
she
away.
murdered
No,
the suspect.
there's a number of things like that. Like there's-
Also,
I'm trying to give an excuse for him all the time about his agitation and his inability to
dead
deal
wife,
with
yeah.
his dead
Well,
wife. He
I'm just
can't-
going to say, if you're already sleeping with another woman, you can only use the dead wife excuse for so long. Would be my take. Anyway, but here's the thing that bothered me as well, though, and this is not a major thing, but it's like, they don't earn, like, her executing a witness. Like, because she knows
No.
she'll get caught immediately.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get caught immediately, whatever Ed has on you is going to come out.
Yeah.
So why do it? Like, there would be no reason to kill the witness unless you thought you could get away with it. But it was a safe house that almost no one knew where it was, and almost no one had access to it. You are in this tiny circle of people who knew where the witness was. You're
And
going to
who
get
knew
caught.
about the video.
And who knew about the video, right? So it's like, you're
Yeah.
going to get caught for this immediately.
Why not give yourself up?
Why not just give yourself up instead of doing the murder? And it's because they needed a dramatic way to end the episode. But I'm just saying, work a little harder to get your dramatic ending. Because I didn't believe that she, like, when we find out the backstory, that, Ed had helped her, get pregnant and she'd already done favors for him and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, whatever other favors you were doing for him, shooting a witness in the head in a safe house and then immediately getting caught is an entirely different tier of
level.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Because now you can just testify against him. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not. Yeah, they do not buy that thing. And
No,
honestly,
as you say, they don't earn it. They don't earn it at all.
And they could have just left that whole. Maybe it would have meant the season had to be 7 episodes instead of 8, but they should have just not done that side story with the band he was a fan of and the first guy he stabbed to death. Or just do a different version of it. Because, because they're trying to establish how powerful he is and so on and so forth. But, like, maybe I'm overselling this, but, like, the use of that power has to make sense, right? because it's a very different thing to have a senator or congresswoman, whatever she is, see you, like, with your murder victim and tell you to go away. And because he has so much on you, you have to immediately go away. And it hurts you and you feel like you betrayed something, right? But you go away. Yeah. That is a very different thing than saying to this cop, go to a safe house that you're one of only 5 people know exists and just murder somebody there and then, go back to work. Like, that's a completely different level.
Yeah. And you don't buy it. As I said, with the senator's wife.
Yeah. No, the senator. Right? She's the senator. Her husband's the scumbag.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's the senator. Her husband's the scumbag. It doesn't matter.
No, but I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
She's the senator. Her husband's a scumbag. But yes, with her, it makes sense because this is a minor thing.
Yes.
All you're asking her to do is do what she's already doing with her monster husband. Just look the other way and accept the status quo.
Pretend that it didn't happen.
Pretend that it didn't happen. And it's like, in the same way, right? Asking the forensics guy all you have to do is walk to the evidence room and pick up a thing and bring it here and you'll have $200,000.
Yeah.
Again, that's, it's illegal and it's dangerous, but it's not go to a safe house and shoot someone in the face and then immediately get caught for having done that.
And why would you think? Like we don't even get her explanation about how this guy got caught.
Yeah, that's the real thing. I honestly think the writers couldn't come up with anything that would that she would have Gesundheit, that she would have in her past that could justify her doing this for the fanboy. Like, I think the writers couldn't think of a way to justify this happening, so they just said, we're just not going to justify it and hope nobody notices. That is my belief my honest belief about that scene.
Yeah, it was just like, okay.
No, you don't buy it.
But it doesn't matter because you move on pretty quickly. And the rest of it overrides because the woman who wants to kill one of his children and he refuses.
Yeah.
And then she kills herself.
Mm-hmm. Sets herself on fire.
Yeah.
Very nice ending for that character. I thought that was a very good scene.
Yeah, it was. It is. I mean, that part of the plot.
Oh, the whole ending.
Sense.
Oh, I love the whole ending.
Yeah, it was. And so that overrides some of these little things that.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like the stuff.
Here's the thing.
Ending.
I can be a dick about all of the really contrived plot stuff that happens in this show. And there is a bunch of contrived plot stuff. There's stuff that doesn't make sense. But at the same time, this is a show where, John gets shot, but he was wearing a bulletproof vest, so he's fine. And the guy doesn't check on him. And so John is able to rush in and viciously beat up the son while X gonna give it to you plays. And that's all I want out of a TV show, fundamentally. Like, that's how you end a season of Cross.
That's right. And
John beating up a guy. Yes, please. Thank you.
And everybody is safe.
But
all the good characters are still there fine. For the next season.
Yeah. And the FBI agent is doing something corrupt, and the evil cop is going to be back at some point. The evil ex-cop is going to be back at some point. Like, they do a lot of really good stuff this year. Like, a lot of really good stuff this year. It's a very satisfying ending. I'm not going to pretend it's not a satisfying ending. I am just going to say there are some plot things where they didn't do the work.
If we don't call them out where the plot points are, we wouldn't be us.
And they wouldn't maybe ever learn to actually do the work next time.
Yeah, and here is the thing. Well, sometimes Patterson didn't do the work either.
More than once, Patterson did not do the work.
Patterson did not do
the work. No, that is,
okay?
You're absolutely right. I'm not pretend
but the point is,
writer.
What do I say?
Yeah.
If the ending sells it, you can overlook a whole stack.
I think that's true.
Stuff. We've talked about this again and again and again. How many Criminal Minds episodes do we go, shit, they screwed up the ending, And
that's true.
Everything is, and then it's just a mess.
You're absolutely right.
And then
Here
you get a
you
D, but here you get the ending.
Yeah.
You find out in this poor woman, and he doesn't have to shoot the woman. Nope. She just kills herself because it's too much. And you can, to some extent, understand why she did what she did.
Oh, yeah.
And her poor son.
Yeah. Well, because she did it out of her own guilt. Because it makes
sense. Yeah. She was massively guilty about it all.
She could not accept responsibility for what she had done, so she blamed Alex Cross.
Yeah. And, because in the real world, if it hadn't been for Alex Cross, she was right. But
the thing is, it's not even it's not even Alex Cross's fault. The reason Alex Cross said she was what do you call it? Irredeemable is because he didn't believe that she felt any remorse.
Yes.
But the reason he didn't believe she felt any remorse is because she wasn't guilty.
That's right. And he
was profiling her as someone who was lying about feeling guilty. What he didn't realize is that she was doing a false confession.
Yes.
Like, that's why he profiled her as irredeemable, because all he was seeing were the lies. He just didn't know what part was the lie.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's very well written. But it's like, it's all the mother's fault. And she's because it's not even Alex Cross's fault for calling her irredeemable, because he was picking up on the lies. And if this woman says she did it, but obviously is demonstrating no remorse, he's obviously going to think, his first guess is not she's going to lie about being guilty. His first guess is she's a psychopath. And maybe they should have investigated. That is his flaw, right? And maybe they should have investigated it further. But it's like, no, the one who is ultimately responsible here is entirely the mother.
The mother, yes,
and she knows that, and that guilt is what has driven her. She needs someone else to blame, and that's why she's doing this to Alex.
Yeah. No, I understand. Yes, I understand all of that.
Yeah.
It just that. This calls into question his ability as a forensic psychologist.
No, it does. I'm not going to say it does. He should have picked up
the fact that she was
doing a false, that it was a false confession. Yeah, she should have noticed that. Absolutely.
And it never crossed his mind.
Didn't cross his mind for a second that it could have been a false confession. Absolutely. Yeah, it's an issue. Oh my God. But yes. Yeah. But yeah, I understand how you could think, just based on the way it's structured, that what she confessed to was killing his wife. But no, he would not have been on the case had what she confessed to have been killing his wife.
Yes, well, we don't have an exact timeline.
It was 1 year ago. Oh, when she went to jail. Yeah, no.
Yeah, when Deirdre went to jail.
No, but I mean, it has to be before his wife died, right?
Well, there's the crux, because if it's before the wife died, then maybe this woman was responsible for his wife's death. But we know, because we've read Patterson's books, that it's not the case. But it was confusing because you don't have a clear timeline.
It's going to be completely different from the books. In the books, it was just like some mob guy, and I think John killed him. You know, I think John just murdered the mob guy who killed his wife. I don't remember the actual motivation for his wife's death, but I know it was done a while ago. Okay, here's something interesting.
Okay.
That I will mention. And so we talked about how the way they dealt with the Tom Cruise movies, right, in Reacher, was that the plot of Never Go Back happens as is adapted into the backstory in season 2 of the thing that got the team broken up.
Yes.
Right. The idea that a group of soldiers are smuggling
Misfits.
heroin back, are smuggling heroin back in the trucks that they are bringing back from Afghanistan. Right. That is the plot of Never Go Back, that some guys who were opium addicts in the State Department are smuggling this stuff back, and of course, his friend who used to have his job is looking into it, and when people come across it, she gets framed for murder. Blah 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 blah. In the movie they changed it from being the actual Secretary of Defense and a guy and the guy in the State Department to being just a private military contractor.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's the same basic plot. And so that is the plot that they had the team working on in the backstory. So that, and they also say that the plot of the movie Jack Reacher one-shot and the book one-shot happened between season 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And so that's the way they've dealt with it. And the reason I bring this up is they mention in passing that Gary Sonji that story has already happened. And they specifically call out the book version of the story because he says, I just wish I could have bought both kids back alive. Because if people haven't read Along Came a Spider, what happened was, and this is why it's a much different version of it that happened in the book, but pretty close, because in the movie, he kidnaps a girl, and then this is where it gets confusing. It's a guy who has a brilliant plan to kidnap somebody, and he gets into a private school as a teacher, and he kidnaps these 2 kids. And I don't remember, but which one of them, like, they're politicians' kids, right? Mm-hmm. So the Secret Service gets involved. And it turns out, and this is why I'm interested to see where they go with this, one of the 2 kids, I don't remember if it's asthma or something else, he dies while being locked away. Accidentally, yeah. Right? Yeah. And, right, he dies accidentally, and then you've just got the other kid. And the twist was that, excuse me about that. Sorry. The twist was that this woman at the Secret Service, who, spoiler alert, Alex Cross is sleeping with, because it's an Alex Cross book, and he's got a dead wife, so what the hell, who was in charge of the protection, had figured out what Gary was doing before he did it, mm-hmm. and kidnapped the kids from him, right? And then did the ransom separately. Well, kidnapped the one surviving kid from him and did the ransom separately. And it's kind of crazy, like, because the book takes place, I mean, a lot of people haven't read the book. I think a lot of people just seen the movie. The book takes place over, like, 2.5 years or something like that. Because this woman does not kill the second kid who got kidnapped. She can't give the kids back because they'll find out it wasn't Gary. It was her who did it. And one of the kids is dead. So what she does is she sends the second kid to, like, live on a farm somewhere in South America for, like, 2 years. And then Alex Cross figures out what's going on and they get the kid back and blah, 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 blah. And I think the book, like, legit ends with it being it's been 2 years and she's, like, on death row for kidnapping and murder. Like, it's a weird book. It might be the first one, and that's why it's so weird and off brand with the rest of them. But yeah, and it's just so strange to hear it casually mentioned that story has already happened, when it's like, well, he was married when that happened, so he obviously wasn't having an affair with the agent, but they specifically call out there being 2 kids when he died, which means, is Gary in jail, and is he going to break out, which is a thing that happens in the books.
Yeah.
So it's like, are they setting that up? Are they setting up that Gary is the one who's telling people about Alex? Oh yeah, because we forgot to mention, it's a big thing that, like, Ed Ramsey, the fanboy, also knows about Alex's backstory and secret stuff about his wife that nobody knows. So it's like the same and again, there's no one, he has no involvement with the stalkers whatsoever. Right? There's never the slightest inkling that the fanboy has any involvement with the stalkers, which means they're establishing a third party out there who knows all about Alex Cross and has a bone to pick with him and probably is responsible for the death of his wife, although we can't say for sure. And that's why I'm like, is it going to be the DA? Are they doing the mastermind, but the mastermind's a lady who's pretending to be a cripple so that no one would possibly suspect she was in charge of this elaborate criminal conspiracy? Because in the books, the mastermind is like an assistant director of the FBI. I think he's an assistant director of the FBI. Do you remember?
No.
Okay, it's been a while. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Along Came a Spider is Alex Cross #1.
Okay, I was right. It was #1.
Yes, it is the very first book.
Yeah, that's why it's so weirdly structured.
Yeah.
He gets much better at structuring these things and keeping them tight in the later books. I can say that for certain. Okay, so what I'm saying is, I am super happy that they have already greenlit season 2. Like, I'm very happy. We loved it. I think they did a great job with this. I'm very excited for the next season. And just like Reacher, if Prime wants to keep doing these pot boilers, I think we are definitely going to be here for that.
Oh, yeah. We won't miss them.
Oh, no. So those are my basically final thoughts. Do you have any?
Not really. I think I agree with everything you've said. I'm looking forward to the next one. Who knows which story it's going to be. It's nice.
They did an original one this time, so maybe they'll keep just doing original stories. Who knows, right?
Yes. And I am so glad that some of the problems I always had with the books have been resolved.
Yeah. That is nice.
And that's my happiness.
Okay. Well, no, I'm glad you're enjoying it. And I will say,
I did enjoy it, problems notwithstanding.
I will say one thing that bothered me. It doesn't bother me a lot. One thing that bothered me a little, just a little, is I really feel like John Sampson should be a lot bigger than Alex Cross.
Oh, well, yes, we did discuss that already.
No, we didn't discuss it here. We discussed it between you and I. We didn't discuss it here on the show.
It should be the situation of
Spencer and Hawk.
Yes, Spencer and Hawk.
Where Spencer's a tough guy, but Hawk is like huge.
Big. Well,
he's just huge. He
had Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
come on.
Exactly.
He's that
he's the Avery Brooks. Like, come on. Perfect casting. And Winston Duke. I mean, the one good thing about that terrible Marky Mark Spencer movie is Winston Duke was the right guy to play Hawk. They just got the wrong guy to play Spencer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he was a terrible Spencer. Winston Duke was a perfect Hawk.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was a little disappointed that John Sampson, who's literally named John Sampson.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering what this guy's vibe is supposed to be, he's named John Sampson. It's right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is my one casting issue. Because I will say, I think Aldous Hodge did a fantastic job. Like, we haven't talked about the acting here. I think he's any problems we had with Alex Cross were in the script. And like I said, I keep complaining about stuff that they have his character do, and you keep defending as saying, well, they're just showing he's broken up over his dead wife. And I'm like, I don't think you're wrong. I'm still just mad about how the show is handling it.
Yeah, I don't think that when I make that excuse for him, I think it's what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
I did not say they were successful at doing it.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay. We're essentially on the same page.
All right. Yeah, because again, none of my complaints go down to Aldous Hodge's performance. I think he's doing a fantastic job, and any complaints I have are entirely down to some stuff I'm not liking about the writing.
Plot.
Yeah,
it's mostly
it is
plot
the
stuff.
plot stuff. Right? I have I think he's doing a great job. Honestly, I think everybody did a great job.
I can't complain. I can't complain about Nana. I can't complain about her evil friend. I can't complain.
I think everybody did a great job.
Even Deirdre did a good job. Like,
everybody.
This thing is meticulous.
It is.
The direction was
so
great.
Well
the
made.
Camera work was good.
Oh,
I never had a problem seeing things. I mean, the confusion of casting was a problem, but it wasn't that I couldn't see them individually. It was it took a while to be able to tell them apart. They could have been brothers.
They could have been, yeah. No, I mean, John Sampson and
twins,
the nefarious villain do look, we will argue, too much alike. I'm blanking on the character's name. This is bad.
No, they had a nickname for it.
I know, and I'm trying to remember it. It's bad that I'm not. But yeah, anyway.
It started with a P, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
The point is, I thought he did a great job. I really did. I think he did a great job as the villain, as one of their many villains this year.
Yes.
A lot of villains this year. 4 distinct villains this year. I thought that, but very well.
The serial killer was just astonishing.
Delightful.
Absolutely.
just perfect. Just a perfect performance.
Carried it all off.
He really did, because he has to be absolutely deranged, and it's so over-the-top cartoonish in its derangement, and that's exactly what we needed.
Yes,
right.
Which is why he can pull everything off in the real world.
Oh, completely. Yeah. 100%. All right, so that was season 1 of Cross. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any predictions for what they might want to do for season 2 of Cross, we would love to hear them because we're very curious. If you're listening on an app or podcatcher, please rate, review, and subscribe it. That's how people find out about the show. We're going to be back here next week with more Those Who Kill, this time set in Denmark. The original Those Who Kill.
Jeez.
See, we've already done all of it months ago, so we know what you're in for. Oof, do we know what you're in for? So get ready for that. But until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.
And have a good week.